Bobby, I don't think I've ever seen you in a shirt that was not a t-shirt.
I was thinking that earlier.
I'm running out of clothes.
The hat matches the shirt.
I've got a real problem right now where I'm running out of clothes. I haven't done my laundry in a long time. I'm getting to the very, very, how, I don't know if y'all have this, but like a stash of like shirts that you don't ever wear, but they're in the closet.
What's everyone's kind of daily outfit? We work remotely.
Well, I usually throw a hat on. I throw an Under Armour shirt on. I throw some shorts on.
I don't know. I see Nike a lot of Nike shirts, more than Under Armour.
I have more Under Armour just because my wife bought me a ton of Under Armour shirts. I don't like picking clothes. Like, I don't like doing any of that stuff. I don't like having to make the decision. So I just picked the first thing in there.
You kind of had to have a uniform in the Steve Jobs way.
Yeah.
Like athletic shirt, hat.
The athletic shirts are because I get hot. I run hot. I'm hot right now. I live in the most humid. It's cold outside and I'm hot. I live in the most humid place ever. My wife keeps the air conditioner very warm. Well, she keeps the heat. I don't know if it's heat or air. I don't know the right way to say that. But it's just hot in our house all the time, man. And I've just found that those Under Armour shirts just do the trick.
What's the typical temperature in your house?
Man, I battled for a long time to get it down to 74, but usually it's about 75, 76.
That's hot. That's like nursing home hot.
How many nurses? Really? I didn't know that.
I think so. I feel like I feel like old people's homes are typically like uncomfortably warm.
Oh yeah. Was there a negotiation on that at any point in your marriage?
A negotiation?
Well, I mean, you obviously would want it cooler.
Oh, well, I mean, I would just, there was no negotiation. I just got used to just it being hot. And then when my son was born, my wife suddenly started caring about it being too hot in our house. And so now, like, because he runs hot like me, I've gotten a little bit relief that she turns it down to like 74, but it's like a hot 74. So I don't know. It's just one of those things, sometimes in life you just kind of just give up caring about things that annoy you. I've kind of given up on it and I'm just like used to it now. So, but we do, like when people come over, I have to like crank the AC down because I forget how hot it is in our house compared to what most people, like a lot of people are like in the 70 range. 60. What is the temperature for everybody right now where you are?
On an average warm day in Florida, our AC is like 71 or 72. I would want it lower than that probably on most days. My wife and I, when we got married, she probably left her house at like 76, 70. Her parents are like in South Florida and they're like at 77, which is just insane to me. But yeah, I kind of was like, I can't do this. But I think when I was in college, we'd keep it at like 69, 70. So like I came up a little bit.
Yeah. Mine is...
I almost said 69. I don't... Never mind. I almost said something just ridiculous. That was one where I'm glad that my brain kicked in and was like, don't finish that sentence.
Except that you have continued to say things about it.
What I was going to say was so much worse than what actually came out of my mouth. So just, yeah.
That's a win.
Yes.
Yeah. My heat is at like 68 or 69 right now.
What about the summer? What is your AC on?
AC stays at, I mean, like if I'm trying to save money, probably like 74, but if I'm not, like 72.
Yeah.
And when I go to sleep, it's at like 68.
Yeah. Sleep's got to be 69
Money be damned.
Or 70.
Yeah.
I feel like Ariel's going to disagree with us here, but
dude, Robert, people are roasting you on that video that we have that's going viral right now. It's over 100K.
Because I said
like, the security guard
for security with your savings.
Yeah, I mean, people don't get me wrong. People are roasting me too for different reasons. They're like, man, this guy just complains a lot, but they're roasting you because they're like, oh, it's like, this guy clearly makes poor financial decisions just because he thinks that he's going to save money and put it in security. Like they're talking about taxes, they're talking about all sorts of stuff.
They are not incorrect.
Yeah,
they're not wrong.
I just think that it's funny. It's like money be damned. Like.
Well, I just like
I like it. No, it's good. We need that on the Personal Finance Podcast.
Well, here's the thing is like I make bad financial decisions for comfort. Well, like I will spend extra money to get a good night's sleep.
No.
You know what I mean?
Let's reframe that though. You spend money on things that bring you more comfort and happiness and joy. How about that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not out here buying like Voss water bottles every day. But
Robert
like
probably-
That's the lap of luxury.
yeah,
too far.
exactly.
If Michael's
I'm
like,
not
"Oh,
I'm not
that's the
drinking
cheap
Fiji
stuff."
water. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I do like a Fiji from time to time, and I don't know why. Like every once in a while, if
Is
I'm,
it
like,
the
feeling
square
like I'm
bottle,
ready-
you
It
think?
has a different minerality to it.
It's got something about it where it just feels different. Ariel, how do you feel about Fiji water?
I mean, I don't have feelings about it. I drink tap
Oh my
water.
gosh. This is
St.
a
Louis
podcast.
has
You're supposed to
amazing
have some
tap
kind of-
water.
Of
Well,
course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah.
It's what makes the
We
emo
should-
dough so good.
we should talk about that.
What's
Yeah.
your AC plan in the summer, Ariel?
Oh, I think in the summer, I think it's like 72, 73. I would like it colder. And in the winter, it's set lower than I would like. Like it's 30 degrees outside and our heat is at 64, I think.
See,
But-
I think that's the way it should be done.
I'm just not allowed to touch the thermostat in our house. I've been banned from it.
Whoa. Hold on. What?
Here we go. Here we go. You just
Hold on, now.
opened something.
I know.
I would like
know,
to know more about that. I would like to hear more about this.
Your husband can't go into your bank account, but you can't touch the thermostat.
I mean, I've agreed to this though. I've consented.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's important. I just heard that. I was like, whoa, okay, let's talk through, see what's going on.
No, I just at our old house, I would mess with it during the day, and I think it was because their thermostat at the old house was a little finicky. Like you touch it a little bit, and it would like go up 5 degrees or something. So I've just said, you know what, I'm not going to touch it anymore. If I'm cold, I'll put more clothes on. If I'm hot, I'll drink some ice water, turn some fans on.
It's kind of funny that you call it your old house, seeing as the current house you live in was built like 300 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Wait.
Well, hold on.
it's not
When,
really.
when you say
300.
300 years,
Probably what?
It's almost
early
100 years old.
Michael's he's acting like he hasn't looked it up and knows the exact build date on that thing.
right? Yeah.
I know the carpenters'
1927.
names. And Social Security.
Their social security numbers. Okay, so like Michael, what were you saying? You do what Ariel does?
In regard
Or
to,
you said that's the way that she does it is the way that should be done? With
I
the
think when
temperature?
I am a believer, if it's cold outside, you should not be trying to get into the 70s or warm your house that much. I think it's going to be cooler during the winter, and you put on more clothes, or you build a fire, or whatever. But your house is not meant to be artificially heated.
You
build a fire.
build
yeah.
a fire is the same thing as turning up the thermostat.
No, it's just different.
I'm deeply
No, it's
offended
not.
by this statement coming
There is
from
something
someone
about the
who
hot-
lives in
no,
Florida.
no.
I
Yeah.
will not
I-
hear
there is
this.
I
something
agree.
about
Michael
hot
does
air.
not have a leg to stand on with
This
it. in
is the
terms of
most
where he
I have
offensive
two
lives.
thing
legs.
you've ever said.
Here's the thing. That hot air blowing and just being in a closed box with hot air is different than a fire or if it's just warm outside. I hate that. I hate the air conditioned or the
Closed box with
HVAC.
hot air.
Yeah, it's like being
Yeah,
in a
the
casket.
blowing air.
Blow-
The blowing air is
blowing
tough.
air.
So we have radiators here now, and
Yeah, I can
man,
live with
that is
radiators.
a huge
that's nice.
difference.
That's a
Oh,
different
boy.
kind of heat.
Okay, so it's the blowing air that trips you out.
Yeah, I'm saying the HVAC. I don't think you should heat with your HVAC to that level
Why not?
because of the blowing air.
Because you
Michael
don't.
said
Because
so.
it's uncomfortable for you.
I'm not saying morally you shouldn't. I'm saying
Okay,
I
okay.
don't,
Okay, so when
You're
we go
saying
on our
you don't like it.
I don't like it, and I don't want to be a
Okay.
part of it.
when we
All
go on
right,
our
that's
retreat, what is the temperature going to be?
66
Really? No, I think it's gonna be a little lower than
God,
that.
no.
in the house. 66.
Oh, I think the outside temperature is like mid 40s or 50s. So honestly,
we're gonna
if it
build
was
a
me,
fire.
if it was up to me, I would do
No.
nothing. The HVAC would be off the entire time we were there.
I support this, Michael.
I do not believe in
What
heating a
is
home
wrong
when it's
with
50
you
degrees
all?
outside.
I don't say you all. I don't agree with this. I think that is very strange. Like,
Yeah,
I
but you
don't-
live like a lizard person. Your house is like 77 degrees right now.
That's true. I can't argue against that. I feel like who gets to control it? I don't feel Michael just
Michael and I.
disqualified himself, and no,
Thank
I don't know
God.
about that. I don't.
Michael's the operations manager. He knows how to operate thermostats the best.
Also,
yeah,
I'm a director of operations, just so we're clear.
Oh, yeah.
Please
Sorry.
don't-
I think Robert is the most. I have no feel for it because it's going to be 85 degrees in there if I do it. So I think that it needs to be Robert because he's in the middle of the spectrum between.
Okay,
me
so this brings you
and
back to
two.
Thank you.
Can we agree to this? You're in a city. It's wintertime. It's cold outside. You're bundled up. You walk into any building. They have it way too hot in there. And it's uncomfortable. And you're sweating by the time you're out of there.
Yeah, but I just feel like that happens so rarely.
Rarely. It happens every time it's cold outside. And you walk into any store or restaurant. They've got it too hot in there.
Saying that it happens
know.
anytime you walk into a store or restaurant feels a little
It's a little
extreme to
strong.
me.
It's a little strong. I don't know. I have no.
Wait, hang on. Okay. Michael, you grew up in Georgia, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever lived any further north than Georgia?
No.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I know what I need to know.
Okay.
I still don't like circulating hot air.
Well, all right. We're talking about the four of us staying for a week and the AC or the heat system. And
Yeah,
this
we're
is
going on a team retreat in
Yes.
2 weeks.
Yes.
correct. This is going to sound kind of familiar to a previous questionable decision of buying a school together. This one is, what about buying a house together with friends as a way to, I want you to go back a few years ago to when you were Robert's age. All of us. Sorry, Robert, you can just stay in the same age, or you can
Michael,
go back a few years.
Go back a few years to when you were my age. For context, I'm 30 and Michael is 29.
Anyway, so let's go back to, let's just say when you were all 26. How about that? We're all 26 years old. Would you, and you're not married, you don't have kids or anything like that, you might have a significant other. Would you, to buy a house with friends as a way to sort of build your wealth, get into a place before, instead of having to come up with a down payment on your own and taking a mortgage out on your own, would you and, 2, 3 close friends do that?
We all
Does that seem like a questionable decision?
Like equal split, own it together, all put the same amount of money into it. Oh man.
Or how about this? What about the four of us buy a house together?
Errol, is this a
I don't know.
proposition?
That made me feel like physically uncomfortable on the inside, and I don't really know why. I got to really think about those feelings that I just had.
Okay, it could just be friends. It could be not coworkers.
Not the 3 people that I work with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it should not be
Can
that.
you imagine if Bobby came to us and was like, "Listen, guys, I've got an idea. Why don't all you, my employees, put in a down payment and we'll buy a house together and we'll live there together?"
Yeah.
I just want to be clear that I would never do this. Physical reaction to that.
Go back to the idea of friends. Friends, you're 26, 27.
The idea of it is great. And I'm going to say a lot of positive things about it. But I'm going to point out the 2 things I see being really big tripping points just right up front. Number 1, being in business with your friends, which is essentially what you're doing. You're entering a sort of business financial relationship. That can be tricky. You're kind of locked into living with each other. If you live with your roommates and you rent, you don't like it, your lease ends, you can move out. Which brings me to my second sticky point, which is how do you exit? So you all go in equal. At some point, your life changes. How do you get out of it? Does your roommates have to buy you out? Do you find a replacement? So that gets a little tricky. Other than that, of course, it's so much better than renting. You can do what you want to it. You can, especially if you have I'm the kind of person who when I'm in a place, I just want to be improving it. Like I want to tear out a wall or paint something or build something. So renting is difficult in that way. If I didn't have a wife and kids, I'd buy a house with some friends.
I would actually prefer that somebody else buys the house. If I'm 26, I think I would rather somebody else buy the house and I just rent from them for cheap. Because I think if you have 4 people, that's a lot of people that get to make decisions together about the house. Like I feel like it's hard enough with 2 people, but then if I'm living there and Michael's ripping out a wall, and I know Michael, he's not asking if he's going to rip out the wall first. Like he's just going to start ripping the wall out and then, put a question.
And you're going to come and go like, Michael, I don't know. You'll say, Michael, I don't know that you just ripped down the wall. And I'd say, shut up, I'm ripping down the wall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you and then you have 2 other people, I just don't think that I wouldn't want to deal with the conflict of it. So I would rather just have a cheaper place to live and not have to deal with the maintenance or argue with anybody. Like if Michael rips a wall, like whatever, it's his place. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Well, I think as my life progresses and my responsibilities stack up and they just continue to stack up of my own doing, it seems really cool to like go back to like 26. If I'm single, no kid, to just have like no responsibilities, like just rent. I have a bedroom. There's like I wouldn't even put any decorations in that thing. It would be like a bed and a sheet and a pillow, and that would be it. And then I would leave the house every day. I'd come back whenever I came back, who knows? And I'd just sleep in there because I was paying rent, and that's it. So,
Did you ever watch True Detective?
No, I don't think so.
Well, for those of you who have watched True Detective, I just picture Bobby's space as, is it Rust's like apartment where he's got like an air mattress and then a mirror this size on the wall that he just like peers into with one eye every morning.
Well, anyway. I used to, when I was in college, my last year of college, I guess I was 22 or 23. I lived with one of my best friends growing up. I rented a room from his house, and it was very similar to this. We would like go and like do whatever. We would play golf. We just did anything all the time because Coral had already gotten a job. She was already working in Houston. And I was still finishing up college. And so the room I was in had a bed. It had a sheet, had no furniture, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome. The only decor in that house, my roommate had a picture of Kramer on the wall. And he also had no furniture, nothing. So like and it was awesome. It was like the best time ever. So I would do that again in a heartbeat.
I think at 26, I had no interest in owning a house. I feel like I've only recently gotten to the point where I like that idea. I just didn't want the responsibility of the upkeep and all of that. That aside, I think I'd be open to the idea of buying a house with friends to live in, but there would have to be like, you would almost have to have like bylaws of like, here's how we will make decisions about the house. Here's the plan for when we will sell the house. And so I think you would just have to have very clear guidance around those sorts of things because you could definitely get emotional about stuff. And so I think having those guidelines in place would keep you from doing that as much.
So I want to go to the bylaws thing in a moment, but I want to bring up the what sort of prompted this decision. And it is there's a group of 3 women in their late 20s, early 30s who bought a house together in Gallatin, Tennessee.
That's like really close.
You could go visit and see how it's going.
30 minutes from
Could you go get some B-roll for the social cuts?
Yeah.
Drive over there.
This is a group of 3 women who are joining forces to buy a home.
But would you choose to buy a house with them? For these friends, the answer is yes.
Everybody, what made you all decide we want to buy a home together?
Yeah, so we actually were roommates. We worked very well together as a unit, so we decided to actually make an investment.
Together, Amanda Schneider, age 30, Kathy Keel, 30, and Stephanie Vandergrift, 28, bought this Tennessee house in May 2020.
Wait, so how many rooms do you have here?
3 bed, 2.5 bath, and then we have the bonus room, the office, and also the finished garage.
Dang, the 3 of you.
Yes.
All right, living large.
They joined many millennials co-buying homes, many for the first time.
Many?
The number of co-buyers with different last names increased.
Yeah, look at this.
772% from 2014 to 2021.
I think millennials
Is it like 1 to 7 or something? What's a 700% increase if nobody's doing it?
Well, the thing that I wondered about that too, is it's people with different last names buying homes together. That could just be like you and your significant other. It doesn't mean like friends, you know?
Okay.
Couples out of wedlock.
Correct.
I mean, I don't think it's all that crazy when you think about, I don't know, what's a median 3-bedroom, not ostentatious house, $350, 15% down payment on that would be, 50,000-ish, 3 people. Like, I mean, that's a very doable kind of number.
Some more details about these 3 women. They saved up $15,000 for a payment. It's a $315,000 mortgage. 2.5 bathroom, single family home on 1.25 acres of land. And it's a 30-year mortgage.
15,000 each.
It just said 15,000 was their down
They
payment.
may be on like an FHA or something.
Yeah.
Could be.
probably
I mean,
FHA.
Yeah.
So, okay.
but there was a quote in there too from them that said, "We split everything 3 ways, so it's cheaper to live. If you have good friends, you have a lot in common. You can pretty much hang out whenever. It's like a permanent sleepover. We don't have any plans to go anywhere. None of us are currently dating. We're all focused on our careers. So for now, yeah, it's for the foreseeable future. We plan to stay."
I just feel like it's a short-sighted decision. Like, I feel like that's one of those things that's really probably fun and cool, but like the second one of those second one of those people goes out and gets a Michael, and then Michael comes in there and lives with you. Like, now all of a sudden the dynamic's totally different. And like, can they just move out and they still just kind of own part of the house? Do you still pay the rent? Like, I just feel like you kind of get into a weird thing if one person's life changes in any
I think
significant way.
I think it's probably really fun until it's not fun. In many scenarios, it'd probably be totally fine for as long as it was going to happen. But you get like into one argument or one fight. I mean, it's that don't crap where you eat, don't crap where you eat. Like, you're going in, you're basically buying an investment property together. You're putting your name and your financial, you're putting your finances into it. What happens if you can't live together anymore? It's one thing if you just have a business fall through, but like you live next door to each other's rooms.
One of the women in that
Could get
group
tricky.
pointed out that she didn't realize how messy her friends were until like 2 weeks in, and she's a neat freak, and the other two are just like everywhere, stuff everywhere.
I thought it said that they had been roommates before that.
It sounded like that, but then it was, I guess maybe that was a different scenario than like, I own this place, now I can kind of.
Well, at the very least,
messier.
that may be a good like piece of advice. Before you buy the house, get a 1-year lease together. Like live together, see if it's unbearable.
Yeah, I agree with that. It just, man, I think that there's more bad things that can happen than good things.
Yeah.
In this scenario, but I think Robert had a good point. It's like, if you have a clear agreement, like, and how do people exit this thing? What happens if somebody gets married or something, or has a kid? You imagine you don't have two of you don't have kids, and you're like single, and then one has a kid. Is that coming up?
God.
Well, all right. I'm going to share something else with you. Okay.
Yeah, I knew it.
Okay.
I knew there was something.
Go ahead, Robert. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna say I think for the majority of people, it could be a questionable decision. You just have to be like really, like, everyone involved has to be really freaking good at communicating and like processing their own emotions. Because if one person is not, it throws the whole thing off. It's just walking a tightrope.
Well, and here's my little bit of pushback. And Bobby brought up the point. For some people, this might work, but a better solution for most people would likely be for one of the friends to buy the house and then you rent from them, which is a very common thing. And if they've already got an FHA loan, I mean, you're talking about an amount of money that if you're going to buy a house and people are going to basically pay your mortgage for you, you should be able to achieve, the 2% it takes to get an FHA loan. That seems like it'd be cleaner in the long run, and you get all the fun of living together without the messiness of being tied up in, real estate ownership at the place you live.
My concern about someone buying the house and then you just renting it from them for cheap, or renting a room for cheap, is I've had friends who've been in that situation before, and they were 21, 22, so a little bit younger, but it was a friend. He rented the house. So it wasn't that he bought it, but he rented the house and then like rented out rooms to 2 or 3 of his other friends. And 3 months in, they just stopped paying rent, and they kept partying there and trashed the place. And then it was on him to make up the rent. So, I think the good side maybe about the mortgage is that everybody has stake in it. Everybody could have some, there could be some bad implications, negative implications.
Also, that all can be accomplished with like a proper lease too. Like, I don't
true.
get that.
Okay. All right.
Michael, just shut that down.
Okay.
Ariel, tell us who got pregnant.
This guy rented a home and then just let people crash and they didn't pay rent. Like,
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah,
they were
they've
paying
gotta
rent.
be on the
That was the
lease.
agreement, but they didn't have a lease agreement or anything like that. So, okay.
Problem.
Going back to the possibly having a baby or having a baby. So this is a story I found. It's in Medium. So this is 8 people co-buying a home together. They are in New Zealand. They kind of admit that they're kind of free-spirited. They admitted that there were some, questions
there are-
like, sounds like a cult. You're clearly a bunch of weirdos.
It sounds like a cult. Very much.
There's
Nope.
the group of people.
Yep.
They look like a fun bunch. I think I'd maybe buy a house
Dude,
with
this
them.
is a cult. This is a cult.
No, it's not a cult. It's
They found
Just say
this
it.
is the
Say what
first
you're gonna
house
say.
that they looked at. It was by the ocean. 7 bedrooms, built 100 years ago. I mean, that looks like a beautiful place.
Looks great.
Is this
They-
just like a polyamorous? Is that the right word for that?
No, they're not. There's been nothing about that in this.
yes, but you can tell.
But can't we just kind of assume a little bit? Like, can we just
No.
like, just stretch
No.
beyond the confines of the article and just kind of like that's got to be what this is, isn't it?
I mean, it could be like,
More-
they're
I think
a
it's like
good-looking bunch of people.
95%. I don't know if that
Well-
has anything to do with it, but I mean,
let's go. I just want to tell you a little bit about the
tell us
financials
more.
of this group of people. They realized that together they could buy like $1 million house was what their thoughts were. 4 of them together at 250. They realized quickly that wasn't going to happen. So they created this little chart that shows 850 was the top for this one person, 730 for the bottom. And then they just found the midpoint. So they were comfortable spending about $750,000 on a house together, or 740 is what they decided. So anyway, you go through the series of them looking at homes and falling in love with them and trying to buy them, da 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 da. And then they end up buying this place, which I'm going to admit, not the most appealing place on the out. It's very dark looking.
Mm-hmm.
To make this work, they drew up. Oh yeah, there they are now. They look.
Oh, this is polyamory.
it's 100%.
Look at that. Ariel,
at
come
that.
on. He's riding on our shoulders.
I like
Okay.
how that's your thing.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, they linked to their co-ownership agreement. The idea being that you could, if you wanted to, do this with some other couples, you could, create your own
You could
agreement.
copy. You could take. Okay. You
Hold
could
on,
like
let's
take
read
this
these
as a
names
template.
real quick.
Okay,
We've got
I
Jody,
like that they have
a
this.
Rosemary, a Michael
I
Peter
think this is
Robinson.
smart.
Robson?
Yeah.
Is that misspelled?
Rupert?
This is Michael
I'm
Peter
surprised
Robson.
that Rupert Snook is a real name.
Rupert
good
Laurie Babington Snook.
Yeah, that is a freaking name and a half.
It's a great
dude.
name.
Wow.
So parties agree to purchase the property for a sum of XXX purchase price plus blah, blah, blah. As tenants in common and shares of 25% each per couple. And then each couple jointly owns 25% share.
So it's
All
4
right.
couples.
Four couples.
Okay.
Come on now. Come on. We know what this is.
So there were some interesting things as I was reading through here. Okay, so ownership cost. Ownership cost for maintenance and repairs exceeding $400 may not be incurred by one party without the prior agreement of the other parties. So if Michael wanted to spend $450 on something, he would have to, everybody else would have to agree on it. But if it was like $399, he could just go ahead and do it. It's kind of interesting. Like, why $400?
I'd just be breaking them into lots of little $3.99 projects.
I was literally thinking that. I was about to say he's just going to make a bunch of $3.99 purchases to get around this.
So they have this hardship fund and missed mortgage payments section, which is each party is individually responsible for meeting their mortgage repayments and contributions to the ownership account. They have a hardship account that is if you miss a mortgage payment and you've exhausted all other possible financial options available to you, you are entitled to use up to $2,000 from the hardship fund to make your repayments. The money is loaned to them interest-free for up to 1 year, but must be repaid to the hardship account as soon as possible. Any amount borrowed will start incurring interest from 1 year after the loan date and the lowest mortgage interest rate offered by the bank at that time. So I like that there is like an account set up. in case of something like that.
Sounds like it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Like, at first I was like I was in agreement with Robert. I was like, yeah, you gotta have the agreement. You gotta have, but it's like, this is complex. This is really complex. Like, this seems worse than just buying your own cheaper houses. I guess I don't know.
I agree. The only thing I would say is, let's say you have these 4 couples. If they were able to buy the 7-bedroom home by the ocean, that's something that's not accessible, to any of them individually. If it had just like you got a baller upside as opposed to, living in an apartment or a home that you could afford on your own, that's the only thing that might make this attractive. You get to have some, great house you couldn't have on your own. But other than that, I mean, you're opening yourself up to just trouble.
Big. Yeah. It's got to be a huge house too. I don't want to see other people. Like, there's times in the day where I just don't want to see anybody else, Yeah.
Well, here's, I want to bring up the children thing, because that's kind of what prompted me to bring this agreement up. So they have this section, what happens if someone else wants to move in? No person, including prospective renters or buyers, can move into the property without the consent of all parties. Okay. Having children, Clause 47 includes any children of any party. So if you get pregnant, they have a section in here, a clause. If any party finds out that they are pregnant and start planning to have a child, they have to tell the other parties as soon as they know. And then the other parties have to agree whether or not they will let this new person
this
move
is
in.
I don't like this. Is just.
Yep. I'm out.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That is wild to me. But I also get it though. Like, a baby is messy.
8 people is too many. 8 people is too damn many to buy one house. Regardless of how baller it is, you're going to get tired of these people. You can't, like, that house would have to be unbelievably big in order for it to be feasible
and
for
I find
4 couples to
that
live
your
there.
threshold for like living with people quickly diminishes with age.
Yes.
So like college, so much fun. You got 5 roommates, 6 roommates. Even maybe when you're young and married, like maybe you could deal with it. But boy, right now, no. I don't want anybody living with me.
I mean, there's sometimes I don't want my husband and children in my house.
Yeah. Maybe you should go in with some friends on a secondary home to escape your family. And that you could own a second getaway home.
There.
Where none of you go to the
really
common
smart.
areas. You just have your own room.
Yeah. I think, like, this sounds cool in theory, but in practice, with human nature being what it is, just would not work.
Has to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Unless
I feel like
this. I think if you're in a cult, this works.
Well, but then it turns into a nightmare. Like, what? Is there ever a cult that ends well?
I don't. Okay. When I see
yet.
when I see these like cult documentaries, these people seem pretty content usually in these cult documentaries that I've watched. You know what I mean?
what I'm saying.
Until something terrible.
Well, it's always some meddling somebody that messes it all up for
That's true.
The Branch Davidians were happy in there, and then the freaking government got involved.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if there was like some kind of mission or something that they were trying to achieve here, but if
all was well on Ruby Ridge until the FBI decided to poke their nose into it.
Oh man, and I know how you feel about
this. Feels like the beginning
too.
of a documentary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. First scenario, okay-ish. You're young, questionable. Second scenario, that's a terrible idea. I think.
Are any of us for this at this point?
I like that Bobby split it into 2. Like, that's 2 different situations, right? Like, couple versus, like, being at the age where you're in a couple and buying it with your partner in a group of other couples versus doing it with a few friends.
Now, I know this is not to save money, but an interest I've always had, seriously, is to have some kind of a sort of commune. Like, I'd love to live on the same sort of property as family and friends, but in different homes. I don't think that's why these people are doing it. I think they're doing it to save money. But I like the idea of living near, very close to people I like, but not.
I thought you were about to outline the plan for a cult, like starting a cult. Okay.
He was about to say a very culty thing, but like pretend like it wasn't a cult.
Yes.
I think, like Bobby, I agree with where he's going with that, where maybe if you're younger and you've got kind of there's fewer obligations to other people. I also think even if you were younger and you were doing it, there should be some like, hey, 5-year plan. What's the 5-year plan? We're going to exit this in 5 years. We're going to hopefully at least break even. Assuming the market does well, we'll be able to make some extra money. All of that. It could improve your credit score. There could be a lot of benefits from it. But we are in our 30s, we're couples, we're to the point where kids might be on the table. No, I'm good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Spot on. I think if you're going to do it, if you are going to do it when you're in that younger scenario, I would just want to have like very clear written agreement plans. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to go back to say that all of you seem like none of you. That didn't make any sense. Did
Yeah,
it?
you nailed it.
I just want to say that only you never did a toast for show. I would like to say that it seemed like none of you wanted to own a home when you were younger, like, or if you had the choice, you wouldn't want the responsibility. I've always wanted to own a home, so I guess I'll be in control of the thermostat at our retreat.
Hey, wait a second though. I bought a house when I was 20, so I've owned a home since I was pretty young.
Boom.
Yeah. So who gets to control the thermostat now?
That's fine. Me and Ariel agree on the thermostat, so we'll go manage it.
Robert's the best person to do this.
Robert is not.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bobby.
He's an
How about
impartial-
we each get a day? We get co-ownership of it or something, or like an hour at a time.
Yeah, let's do hour at a time.
All right, here's the deal. We open the doors, completely reset back to 50 degrees, and then we get our chance to change the thermostat, see what we like.
We're going to need to put some sort of agreement
Every
in
90
place for the
minutes.
thermostat situation.
And what if one of us has a child or brings like a stranger in?
If I'm on the retreat and I'm thinking about having a child, I'll notify you all in writing.
Thank you.
Please do. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode. We want to hear your questionable decisions. We want to talk about them. We want to marinate on them. We want to think about them. We want you to text them to us at 321 222-0203. We've also got this really amazing email list. We send out the best emails. Robert writes emails. Bobby writes emails. Ariel writes emails. I've never written an email. You can sign up for it in the show notes below. And we're going to be back next week. Every Monday we put this thing up. So you need to come back.
Oh, that was so good. Gosh. So you need to come back here.
Come back.
You better listen to this next week. If you don't listen to our podcast, I swear to God.
Bye.